wonder what that is. What's up, guys? Grant Whitaker here, Mr. 777s. Another watercross video, basically showing you some budget builds. These are two greasy units, I will say. That kind of started it all for watercross for me on this 700-01 Summit Skidoo, and then kind of the 2.0 build of it, nicknamed the Sea Cadillac because it's just out there floating away. Gonna kind of break down the build on these just to kind of help anybody that's wanting to get into one of these sleds. Probably have about, maybe $200 to $2,500 into these. If you get one cheap, market has changed a lot now. Had this black one for 4 years now. I think we got this yellow one for like $2,100 or $1,800 or something, somewhere in that range. Can't remember, it's been so long. But yeah, just gonna get into it, so stay with us today as we get into different parts of the sled and the build and everything, and we'll go from there. I'll start over here with this black 01 Summit 700. So bought the sled at auction, complete snow sled. Knew nothing what I was doing for watercross. Seen some videos. That's really kind of where our name came from, the Shitti Skippers. We started on literally just duct tape snowmobiles. Over the years, we've refined them, and stuff now. The not so shitty Skippers anymore. But anyways, getting into kind of the front suspensions of both of these. This one actually has 89 Jag shocks. I just pulled them off a sled that was in the back 40. Tossed them in here, kind of sucked up the front, ripped the seat off, and went ripping for the first day. Didn't really work very well because obviously it didn't have a good skid shock or anything, but it still skipped. Getting into kind of the specs for everything. This guy has 10-inch shocks, and then the yellow sled over here has 11-inch shocks. Both of them have CNA minis on them. And then I kind of went a little different route. If you look at East Coast sleds or a lot of other people's builds for these, they take the trailing arm off. They cut it up here and they just weld like a different piece. I just, this is what I started with and seemed to keep working, so we haven't changed it. But I sucked the trailing arm, just against the sled as tight as you can. And then another piece over here, looking at the side clutch guard. On this one, just aluminum, riveted on. Used, that sealant. Best stuff ever. Fuse it. Works really good. Obviously, this sled has lasted for 4 years. Hasn't really had to have a major reseal or anything. Just keeping it clean. And then kind of looking up more at the top. Got some frog skins on the hoods on both sides. Did 3 of them on the clutch side just because that will heat soak, and then also added one kind of by the exhaust just to get some air flowing through. Because this one I chopped the top. This is all aluminum up here. This guy's all still sealed with a hood. That's how my buddy wanted to go with it. We'll pop the hood on both of these and we'll show you a different angle. All right, got the hoods popped on both these greasy units. But looking in here, you can see, sealing just every nook and cranny everywhere inside the sled. Like I talked about in the other video, though, doing that flashlight trick. Turn all the lights off in your shop. Shine the flashlight from the bottom or up on the sled if you got it, raised up or something. Sealing all those little holes. And what works good about that Fuse-It is it's a darker sealant. So when you get over something that has the light, then it's covered. So you're good to go. So checking out all the sealant on both chassis, just every nook and cranny. Then getting into kind of the nitty-gritty, both of these engines have crank drains in them. So what we actually did is just pull the motor right out. This is a really easy sled to work on and to start out on because there's no, cross member in the front, kind of like an Axis chassis or, a newer Skidoo or something too. But yeah, pulled the motors out, drilled the crank drains, didn't even pull the cases, just tapped them, made sure to get all the metal shavings out the best we could using a little bit of grease. Also put drains on the carbs, so drilled out the carb bowls and just wide that out, so that was really easy to drain out then too. So when these sink, you just change your fuel, swap that out, pull the carb drains, and also pull the crank drains, pull the pipes off, pull it over a bunch, pull the spark plugs out. Super easy to do. Use a leaf blower, get inside of there, blow everything out really good, and then you're good to go. Put new fuel in it, and both of these have the oil pumps deleted in them, so you can just cut the cable to that, either put a block-off plate to that too. But both of these, you just leave the pump on and just snip your cable. And then you run them pre-mix. And you can range from whatever mixture you want, 32 to 1, 40 to 1, kind of in that range. I like to run clots. You can run whatever oil you want. But yeah, this sled's probably been sunk 500 times. I don't even know. It's literally the best sled to start out on. That's why we call it the Sea Cadillac. This is a 151 skid. It's a 137, I believe. This one has a can on it. I don't remember what brand it is, but it's probably MBRP or something. Stock can over here. This 01 Black Summit does have an EPI clutch kit in it, and a fresher belt on it. But that just about, I think this has reeds in it too. Yep. This one also does. But for the most part, pretty much a stock 700 motor, and seems to be just a pretty good ripper out there. We have discovered pretty much 600 plus liquid sleds. You can pretty much get them to be skippers. Anything below that, you're just going to run out of power. But yeah, you'll see the rest of the chassis. We got some zips taped in spots, rivets in spots. Do what you got to do. That clutch cover over there is just taped on. That wouldn't really be legal for racing. This is more of just a fun ripper. This one actually is tinned out, so that does pass for inspection. But unfortunately, this sled no longer passes, at least IWA rules, because I do have a cut track. So that leads me to the back, the suspension. We'll go look at that part of the snowmobile now. All right, back here in the skids of these sleds. Yellow sled right here, 137, I believe. Black Summit Sea Cadillac, 151. You'll notice that this one doesn't have that tunnel extension. It would probably make it a little bit better of a sled, but it seems to work for what it is. But yeah, this guy started out running no flap first. Terrible idea. Absolutely flat sliding everywhere. And if you don't know what that is, Google Watercross flat slide, because it's basically when the sled's going forward about 30 or 40 miles an hour sideways, and then you just get thrown off that thing. Kind of if you're spinning donuts on a four-wheeler or something on the ice and it catches and you get thrown off that. Exactly that reason. But anywho, just like I was talking about that Axis video, same thing. Rear of the sled right here is a rudder almost. So this is going to dip in the corner, and this is set up to turn right. You can turn left on the sled. Kind of sketchy though. So got the flap situation all figured out. Then looking at the skids here, you can see that this one's got a pretty decent rake in it. I sucked this baby all the way up inside there as far as I could when I first built it, and it seemed to work, so we haven't changed it. I hand cut this track from a 2-inch paddle, I believe, down to kind of an 1.25 inch, which is kind of the desired size for watercross. But yeah, once a year, pop new slides in them, go through all your skid, bogey wheels, general maintenance on watercross sleds. So this guy's been around for a while. Moving to the actual front skid shock, they both have the same exact spring. It's going to be a Carver Performance 280-pound spring. Both running dual limiter straps too as well. Coming up now to the front of the snowmobile a little bit higher, we got both gas tanks. I believe they're 7-quart Walbros. Then I just used a couple pieces of wood, kind of get it up over those coolant lines, then just slapped it in there. You can do many different tank setups. I've had a IQR tank on this before that didn't work as well. You just kind of worry about the fuel slosh a little bit with the carbureted sleds. So kind of keeping something more level, but this seemed to work really good. It also desyncs really fast. So you could have these sleds running in 5 minutes. Which is another good reason, putting someone out, a beginner on one of these carbureted sleds, you can rip as many laps and sink as many times as you want. Doesn't really seem to hurt the sled too much. Up top here, looking at our bar situation, both of them have 10-inch risers. That's also going to be another thing that you can choose your preference. When I built it, I just made them nice and comfortable to, because I figured it'd be just standing up like this. This is even before racing. We just left it. Seemed to work really well for this because the sled likes you to be a little bit farther back because it is a 700 too, but she still rips. This one has the stock bars on it. This one has some dirt biking bars. Whatever you want to do, whatever your budget. If you want to buy bars, go for it. If you don't have to. But anywho, coming up to the front, got a little buoy set up here, there, and then this one's just tied up here. Both of them got, tethers. Another big thing too that's kind of obvious though at this, but you are gutting, as much weight as you can out of the snowmobile. So taking out all the foam, because that's going to hold water in itself. A little bit of droplets might get here or there on your drive belt, and then you're done. You revved out. But anywho, taking the headlights out, taking the intakes out. Both of these are just running open carbs, which is, not really ideal because you can get dirt and debris inside of there. But these sleds just like as much air as possible because it is in the summer. Both of them have stock jets in them. Yeah, and that's pretty much about it. This whole video I've just been trying to make to elaborate, on a lot of this stuff. Someone who's a beginner or has a question about this, you can reach out to us, me on any of my social medias, or whatever, leave a comment or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it for some budget-built, greasy units. Thanks for watching and keep on riding.